Live?
And now we're live on Facebook. You can, yeah, they can. It's cool.
I'm eating a date.
We all eat. We all eat.
I waited too long.
You guys, if you're here right now live, let us know that you're here, or hop into the chat or onto the Facebook Live. We were just talking about, it's such a cozy, rainy day. And like, I feel like, oh, Kathryn's just eating her breakfast and I got my tea here and we're just going to hang out and chat. But you guys, hold on to your hats. I know that we're going to talk about some really great stuff. And I don't want to say but first. And first, I'm going to just cover, as I do each week, something digital marketing related or business related. And today, what I want to do is, last week I ran a great webinar. I ran 2 webinars. I ran one with Rebecca Moore on using your story, putting your story in a nutshell, your mission statement, your ideal clients, and how to use that in your digital marketing to really rise above noise and to get out of that static that we're hearing on social media. And the other one was a webinar that I did for She Breathes Balance and Wellness in Walpole, Massachusetts. And that was called Digital Marketing as an Act of Service. And in both of these, I shared some stuff that I really feel strongly about, and I thought it would be worth sharing this morning. So I'm going to go ahead, share my screen. And Kathryn, you see something that says digital marketing is an act of service?
Yep.
And do you still see it?
I still see it.
Awesome, right? So that's just a visual, just knowing that that most people that are kind of attracted to my world are people who do work that changes people's lives, that they're helping people become healthier, happier, more productive. And so sometimes it feels counterintuitive that I talk about digital marketing and heart-centered in the same breath. But the thing is, and you guys probably know this by now, is that I believe that if you're seen, you can change the world, and that if you make the decision to show up, but on your own terms, like really show up, you get to do what you love full time and make money doing it and actively impact the future of our world. So some of you have seen this before. It's my Rise Above Noise system, where you dig into your core values, you master your time, gain control of your messaging, and attract clients who align by using your core values and your ideal clients, by creating compelling content, that would be being the resource, like knowing your stuff and showing that you know your stuff. Proof of concept is testimonials and case studies. This is the most important part that I talk about, which is organizing, scheduling, gaining control of your time and your messaging so you always know what you're doing right. Like, this is my speed version, you guys, because I want to get to the good part, which is Kathryn tonight. And then keeping in touch. And so that's what I wanted to talk about just now, is just a brief thing on keeping in touch. All of these things are so that you can show up to be of service for the people you know, and I know, we all know, could totally use you. So just quickly, when I do talk about showing up and we talk about all of these digital marketing areas, right? Website, search optimization, all of these things, social, email marketing, you cannot do all of it well. You just can't, unless you have like an unlimited budget and people to do this for you. So you're going to want to choose what's the most important, what's going to bring you the biggest return on investment. And so you've probably heard me say this before too. In the 15 years that I've been doing digital marketing, I've worked on so many digital marketing platforms, but really email marketing is where you're going to have the highest return on investment. If you want to look at numbers, most people say, or most resources that I look at say that there's a 300% ROI on email marketing. That's for every $1 you spend, you're going to get $30 in return. That's been my experience. Every time I send an email, I am fostering a relationship a little bit closer to, bringing them a little closer to me. I get responses, I get people scheduling calls, and I get people who come back after a number of interactions with me and say, I'm finally ready. So sending that email on a regular basis is your highest return of investment. I had a story I wanted to tell you about. So this is, won't tell you the whole story, but this was a parent coach I had spoken to, and man, she was so good. She worked with parents to, who had challenging children, and she brought in yoga and art and meditation and creativity and putting your toes in the ground and all those good things, working with families to create stronger children, the children ended up having better relationships in their home, better relationships at school. And my vision for when she told me this story was, wow, if that child becomes this better, this more adapted human, and I know this is what we're going to be talking about with Kathryn today, when you can shift into a way, this child then becomes a better student and then goes on to be a productive and well-balanced adult, gets into a lifelong balanced relationship, and who knows, changes the world in their own way. So when Patty told me that she didn't want to bother people in their inbox, she didn't want to, she got so much email, she felt like if she was emailing, that she was bothering people. And I don't know if you've ever felt like that, but honestly, I do this for work, and sometimes I feel like that too, until I realize there's somebody out there that really needs what I have to offer. And if I can just help that one person, knowing that everyone else can unsubscribe, or, you know, maybe they don't even open it, but knowing that that one person might receive that email when they need it, knowing that Patty could change the life of one person. So she did. She made peace with that, and she started sending out regular tips. It wasn't selly at all. It was regular tips. Have you tried this? How about this? Here's what I've had success with. Then what she heard people start saying is, oh my gosh, I look forward to your emails. You're like the angel in my inbox. Now, maybe it brought clients, maybe it didn't. Maybe people were able to refer her. But that's kind of where I wanted to go today, is digital marketing is an active service. Open your heart, I mean, it's almost like it's selfish if you don't share and allow people to find you. So that was my morning soapbox, setting up my day for lots of sharing and lots of opportunities today. So with that big start, I do want to thank Kathryn for being here today, for showing up, and I'm going to give you the official bio of Kathryn LeBlanc. So Kathryn, I met Kathryn at a Polka Dot Powerhouse meeting last month or the month before, and we connected right away and then got to have a great conversation after that about pretty much what I was just talking about digital marketing being an active service. Kathryn has been educating leader and relationship development since 2004 throughout the New England area. She integrates the wisdom of over 20 years of human development training, 14 years as a transformational workshop creator and leader, and a lifetime of training in mind-body wisdom into her trainings. Kathy is a leader development specialist. She provides training, coaching, and consulting in emotional intelligence, behavioral modification and analysis, personality and temperament functioning, career development, decision-making, conflict resolution, and relationship development. That is some deep stuff. Her passion is empowering value-based leaders with powerful and practical leadership skills and experiences, supporting them in being more fluid, effective, and formidable in their capacity to realize their highest potential for the benefit of themselves and their communities. Right there, you guys, you know why I was attracted to Kathryn. So on a personal note, Kathy is a lover of nature, children, and travel, and an unyielding romantic. When I asked Kathryn, what is her superpower? She said that her superpower is recognizing, seeing patterns in human behavior. And I am beyond excited to have you here, Kathryn. So good.
Thank you, Susan.
We're going to talk about training in Radiance. What is that?
Well, first, Susan, thank you. Thank you. It's already a gift this morning, just hearing you as a marketing guru and one who has helped me talk about active service this morning in our marketing, because it reminds me that it is important for especially people who are value-based leaders and people who lead with their heart, for us to be more assertive and step forward, because the world needs these leaders to step forward. So thank you for starting my morning off with such a beautiful note. So what is training for radiance? Training for radiance is, you know, it's shifted a lot over the years. It's grown into that, keep it short here. It's really teaching people, and for myself, I was the first participant. I had to live this first to realize how powerful it was for me. Of course, I had amazing, and still have amazing mentors that guide and lead me. It's leading with your heart. And when I say that, it's, I call it the place of your being. It's this center within all of us that's unique to all of us, just like a fingerprint. And inside this being that each of us carries is imprinted particular gifts that only we are given in certain ratios, certain amounts. And when we live out these gifts and these sacred bonds that we've been given in this lifetime, we've been born into the specific body that we need to live out this life purpose. When we remove everything that is in the path that could block these life force, this energy force from moving forward, we open up these portals and these gateways for immense amounts of energy. And I'm not talking about caffeine energy. It's like when you see someone and they're just shining and you can just feel the light off of them. It's life force, prana. So it's figuring out what are these gateways, and a lot of these we can get, yes, through outside resources, exercise, and then internal meditation, but it's opening up these portals more and more even for our individual gifts. So if I'm living out a gift that might be mine and not another person's, I'm opening up a gateway that sources me. We know, like, when we're living these gifts, it's effortless. It's almost like we're just getting powerhouse source from somewhere beyond us. And that's the goal. Getting us as leaders into the right rhythm, living out our gifts so that it's just, we run and we do not stop. It continuously is a flow of life force energy. And if there's things that we've chosen in our lives that are not serving us, we can start to look at that and dismantle what has society put on us, what is the principles of our mind locked us into patterns that aren't life-giving. So we're not really living from a place of abundance, and then that place that really is like radiant and shining. So that's it in a nutshell.
That's a lot. That was so good. Tell me more.
I gotta stop myself. Well, I couldn't tell. You want me to keep going?
Yes.
Okay, so break in any time, because I could go on and on and on and on. I'm going to bring up a screen because I'm a visual person, so I like to visually see stuff too. So I'll run through that. I'm going to share my screen. I'm not going to share my whiteboard. I'm going to share. Okay, and share. So I'm going to just draw. Can you?
I see white.
You see? Do you see my whole screen, or you just see that?
Yep.
Okay.
Paint.
So I'm going to just draw. Here's one model. I like to work from several different models, and I'm always building my toolbox because some things you need to be able to shift and move. We have this. Let's pick a nice color for this. Pick blue. So we come into this world, and here's one model that I am very. It has been extremely useful for me. So we come into this world, all human beings, we have a body. If we don't take care of our body lets us know. If we're hungry, it starts to feel depleted, or we can get agitated. We can have emotional or chemical responses. So we have a responsibility to be monitoring and knowing about how our body functions, because this is the ship that carries us through our lives. And if your ship's got a hole in it, it's not going to do too well. If you've got a broken mast, and I'll use a sea analogy because that one, I like it. If you've got a sail that's ripped and you've got to get out of a storm, you're not going to be able to move as swiftly and be as agile. we also have this part of us that is our intellect. I'll put an I for intellect. And our intellect is the captain of the ship. It's the part that's always looking out on the horizon, checking out the boat, saying, hey, is the boat okay? Does the boat need food? What's going on the outside world? Are there waves? Where's the sun? Where's the moon? Where's my compass? These are the things our intellect should be doing. It can go on hyper alert. It can be malfunctioning. You know, a lot of times we hear about the ego. This part can, I could go on for days because this is a whole training in itself. But also in the intellect, we know that cognitively, if we look at some other models, the brain takes in data and it makes decisions from that data. All day long, it's taking in information. But if your brain's trained to only take in information from one angle, you're making decisions only from one angle. So part of training for Radiance programming is looking at brain preference and looking at asking questions, looking at, are you making judgments? Are you making decisions off of past data that's in your memory bank that could be skewed by a particular event or situation? And then how are you making your decision? Are you making your decision just on how it will affect you, or are you making a decision on how it will affect people around you, or vice versa? There's 8 particular ways you can look at making decisions when we look at the intellect. So we've got this captain. Captain's looking at the body. It's looking hopefully at itself also. And then we have our emotional zone. And whether we want to act like it doesn't exist, which I myself can do sometimes, but I'm much better at it now. We are emotional beings. We've been gifted into this body with a feeling zone. I'll write feeling zone. I'm going to write FC, feeling zone. You've got these emotions, and you are not just an intellect. If we try to live, which our society is much better structured or has been formed so that the intellect moves forward quicker and gets a little bit more value, maybe a lot more value, not in my worlds, but in general out in the main society. But we can see that if we're not tending to this beautiful ocean, we'll call it the ocean of our analogy, if we're not watching and understanding how to read it, how are we going to move through those emotions? If one day I come into a storm, I've got a lot of anger because some needs aren't being met, and I don't know how to address that, I'm just going to go head first into that, and it can look really messy. It can use up a lot of life force, and when it can be a situation that we can gather from these emotions, what they're giving us information. These are very valuable pieces of information for where we're meant to be going on our life path. So definitely places I believe and have experienced we do not want to ignore, we want to embrace and train ourselves to understand this feeling zone inside us.
So when you do the trainings that you do, and I know you do one-on-one training, you do group trainings, do retreats and workshops, are those the kinds of things that, like, this is so interesting, right? And then of course there's people that are like, yeah, but like, I can't control my emotions, they just are. Is it that you should recognize them for what they are and move forward? Or how is it that when you're running a workshop and you want people to understand the emotions and then to be able to move forward understanding it?
So in particular, yeah, because great question, because when we train in data collection and decision making, I can focus just on training the intellect and what's your cognitive preference. But when we're talking about emotional intelligence, one of the tools I particularly am fond of, people, using meditation and yoga are wonderful, following your breath. But for this, it's very specific of, real quick, learning how to go within the body, feel a sensation. So usually I'll give a prompt. Sometimes we might be doing workout in nature. Sometimes I'll use laughter yoga, which is one of my favorite because it gets the body moving. You get your scientifically, your endorphins and your adrenaline and all your neurotransmitters can get fired up. So you're going to have some emotional push. We can do it in softer ways, but so I'll do prompts, either it's gentle writing prompts, or if we're doing some movement in the body to get a sensation or a feeling alive. And then we take that, we train the intellect. So I'll do a little map here. We train the intellect to look down and land on one of these feelings. So it looks down, and we use writing to ground, because writing scientifically helps the mind pull itself in, and it grounds into the experience. So writing, this is a good tool. I could even do a quick video on this at one point. Just landing on the sensation and asking it questions, not as if it's something that's just in, a non-living or innate, what's the word? A non-living object. Feelings are energy. So we can ask energy questions. We are energy. And I'll ask it, I'll say, what do you remind me of? What is this feeling? So it might say, it's sadness or it's joy. And then I know, where is it in my body? So we ground the mind, teaching the mind to find it in the body and to name it and then to describe it. That starts to be like mini tiny push-ups. And if you continue this over a process throughout the day, throughout weeks, throughout months, you start to get to a point where when a sensation happens, it's so fast. It's like, even when you hit a massive wave, it's like, a big, some are really wonderful waves. Like, I am just so overexcited because I can feel this other person's life force is aligned with my own. So that's a good one. But sometimes it could be like, I just hit a place of rage and I am shut down and I'm never going to speak to this person. So I can land on that and say, I hear you. I feel your need to be heard, to be held. And then we heal those places and we get these sensations what they need, or we listen, because sometimes a part of my life purpose, I'll hear the joy inside, I'll feel it, and then I know the intellect's like is the captain. It goes, go towards the life, go towards the life force. When you get closer to your life, I'm going to just tell you, write down on this drawing on the bottom, the fourth part of the person that is the most important. They're none most important. But this is where we want to go. This is where the juice is. This is the being, and inside that being are these little seeds, and everybody has these special little seeds, and if you live them out, it sends off this vibrant life force, and you feel it. Then if we train the intellect to look at that, it's going to keep creating situations moving us towards more life force, more life force, more life force, which then in turn is going to pop up more seeds and more seeds, and we're going to start vibrating at a higher and higher level. This is the simplistic version. There's so many more fascinating pieces of us. But, oh, that's not good. My battery's low. Oh. Well, I'm going to talk out loud. I'm going to plug my laptop in. Because sometimes life is, we don't get everything right.
All good.
Anyway. But so the being is sourced, below the being is this energy source that knows, that holds all the pieces of our being. And I lost my train of thought a little bit, but so that would be, that's a basic start. A major training, it's called an analysis training, where we look at the being. You could take that whole training where you really learn this skill, and then we meet every month and we continually practice it. Or little pieces of this are always implemented into workshops where you sit, listen to your body, write about it. You'd be surprised by just a 5-minute, grounding, how much you get out of it. So that's a piece of the emotional intelligence. Obviously, there's other tools that we can use. There's one that is just grounding in the interior of ourselves and building from within. And then there's looking at how we're functioning emotionally in the outside world, looking at things like, let's say you want to look at your decision-making skills. There's a whole decision-making workshop. But we also have to look at how's your problem solving ability, which would focus on the intellect. How's your reality? Like, what's your reality testing like? Are you really living in reality? Like, I want to go and do this great thing, but we haven't set up structure. So, and how's your impulse control? Looking at different pieces of emotional intelligence from a more cognitive level, but also emotional intelligence from an internal growth. Like, do I know what I'm feeling? Do I know what those names of those feelings are? And do I know what's causing or triggering those emotions? Do I know my own needs, the need to be basic needs? Some people don't even realize we have basic needs, the need to be loved, the need to be held, the need for, we know basic survival, but to be held and to be seen as a human being, those are primal needs. I remember for myself just knowing that it's okay to need and it's normal. It's not often talked about in our social structure, but it's a powerful thing when someone wants something from me and it feels draining, and I can realize that my needs aren't being met in this. And it's not a selfish thing. It's something, if my light's not shining, I'm serving no one. So those are a couple of little pieces of the models, depending on the challenge or the aspiration a particular leader is having. Will address, like, okay, you need to grow this. This is a place that you need to be strengthened. And wow, this is a place you are on fire with. And working on both edges, if we work with the fire, it can burn through a lot of any challenges that might have been getting in the way. Because inside that fire, it's such a powerful life force. So a big component of training for Radiance is building your being, building your inner power. That moves so much faster, but also we want to look at what are the unmet needs, what are the wounds, and what are the non-functioning or limited thought processes. And that gets met just by training. We just train them. You know, if you're a captain of a ship and you weren't trained by a better captain, we get the captain in, a good captain that says, that's not a good way to put up your sail. We're going to show you another way to put up your sail. Or, hey, do you see those storms right there? Yeah, that storm is this particular way. So here's a way you can maneuver around it. And the better we get at it, the even more fun we can have. Because then the new captain is like, I got a little trick I found. Yeah. So we learn from each other too. It's we're always learning from each other because we're humans and we're sourced in different. We have different gifts.
Well, I think that's the thing too. And because most of the people that I interact with on the day-to-day are solopreneurs or we're lifelong learners, right? And so you want to always learn and you want to always be able to shift. You want to be open because not everything works and you want to be open to what's changing. What was it very interesting, and everything was so interesting to me. But also when we've talked in the past and you've talked about how you work with leaders and you work with entrepreneurs. And what made me start thinking more deeply about it is, even if we're a solopreneur, even if we don't have an assistant or anybody who's helping us with anything, I think these kinds of leadership skills, or maybe their self-knowledge, I mean, like you said, you have to be the captain of your own ship, and you have to know that you're in control of what's going on with you, but then also how you show up with other people. You want to show up as confident and in control, and that you're managing your conversations and managing how you show up in a way that looks intelligent and honest and authentic.
Yeah, I like that. I particularly love the authentic and honest. Because I can struggle with that too. Like, what looks, professional, but people who really know me, I can be really, let's face it, I'm out there sometimes. Some of the stuff that I work with is just really, and plus I'm an introvert. So there's this place around being authentic too, because we carry heart-centered and value-based leaders. Because we're so vast, we're so, look at how many different flowers there are in the world. Look at all the amazing beauty in nature, how intricate and amazing the differences are. That's how we are as humans. We are not all cookie cutter, and there's nothing for me more drab and boring in the world than when people don't stand in their authentic self. And I love this work of the being because it always throws me back and says, hey, listen, you're not that. You're not that. And I know it because I feel drained or it feels heavy. But then all of a sudden when someone's like, I really love that laughter yoga, or yeah, Kathy, I feel that when I'm in nature, I know I'm being authentic because I've led them through my own truth. So not everyone's going to be called to each other's work, but I know when I'm with another leader who's in their authentic self, it is like a being on the ocean on a warm day to be in that authenticity. So yes, it's good for us to learn how to maneuver in some situations, but I think the stronger we get internally and the more confident, not even to seem confident, but we're confident, I become more quirky, or I can be my silly self, or I can not feel like I have to be something that I'm not because I've worked it from the inside. Right. And then there's a little bit of, it's naturally respectful for everyone outside because I'm loving myself. And if I can love myself, I love everybody else. I love other people. I can respect their choices. And I can also step away and create boundaries if I need to, or I can be curious about them. So I love this piece around how do we continue to grow so we can be even more authentic? Because those people are fascinating. The authentic.
I agree. The people who, and yeah, sometimes okay. I had so many thoughts just go in my mind just then, and so good. So how, they were all great, but they would mean that we would be talking for another hour.
I know, like a lot of hours.
So people can find more about you on your website. And so you run workshops and retreats. I feel like there would probably be some interest in something like that. What would that look like if someone said, I need to either come to your retreat or bring you into one of my retreats?
So typically for more business or entrepreneurial things, I usually start off, this is some workshops for emotional intelligence can be more into the intellect, but then we have the deeper work here. And then the brain preference, teaching people about their brain preference is a great one for business owners, I feel. And it's a great one just to learn about yourself. So those are usually business-based. But individual entrepreneurs, I will post on my website. I'm so challenged with Facebook. But I will post on the website any new entrepreneurial things. But also, as I was discussing with you, Susan, putting out some more this work is so vast, putting out some more mini videos to teach about that. So I think that would probably be the best bet for them now. If they're curious and they have a challenge or they have some aspirations they want to learn more about or ask me some questions, like I told you, they could always do a free 30-minute discovery call and we can chat and they can learn more. But also keep an eye out for mini videos. That's my goal for 2020, is to get some of this stuff documented. So there is a library, because this is priceless information that has been handed down to me and handed down through me. And I feel it has been a gift, and I'd like to make sure those are getting created. So looking for mini videos, and then in that too, there's going to be some online mini group gatherings for using this analysis tool so that you can learn to listen to your inner world better. So I guess
good. I think what I'll do is I'll put in the notes, well, your website is KathrynLouiseLeblanc.com.
Yeah, or you could go, we all have our limitations. I'm comfortable with my technology or you could go to www.trainingforradiance.com if that's easier for them.
Training
that
for
just
Radiance.
leads to one page of my whole website. That'll be hopefully shifting shortly.
Fabulous. Or they can email you directly or get on your email list or whatever. But you guys, you should stay in touch with Kathryn. She's got a lot coming up. I know we're working together to be able to spread her gifts out, and because clearly there are so many of us that need to dive even deeper, even if we think we have a nail on it, to dive deeper and to be even better and to come to different levels with our life force, our prana. Thank you so much for spending the morning with me, Kathryn.
Thank you,
I look
Susan.
forward to seeing you again soon.
I do too. Thanks so much. Have a beautiful morning.
You too.